The Chicago Bears are deep in the grind right now as roster cuts dominate the conversation, and fans are on edge watching every move unfold. It's a whirlwind kind of morning around the NFL, and in Chicago, the front office isn't sitting still. Players are getting cut left and right, and the Bears are trimming the roster down as the deadline to reach the 53-man mark looms. 4 more names were added to the cut list this morning, including a few that might circle back to the practice squad, but one, in particular, raised some eyebrows. Tano Pisanian, a guy many projected to make the roster, has been released, at least for now. That kind of move starts to paint a picture that roster gymnastics are already at play behind the scenes. Pisanian was someone I had locked into my 53, and I don't think I was alone there. But sometimes these early cuts come with a bigger plan. The logic might be simple. Use short-term injured reserves strategically, stash a guy like Austin Booker, and then bring back a vested vet like Pisanian who doesn't have to go through waivers. It's a game of timing and contract rules. Remember, teams are only allowed to move 2 players to short-term IR and still bring them back later. So depending on who ends up needing that designation, and right now names like Roscoe Johnson and Booker are floating in that conversation, the Bears might be maneuvering to keep depth while protecting their young talent. Meanwhile, other cuts seem more routine. Ricky Stromberg got waived, and it wouldn't be a shock if he lands back on the practice squad as an emergency center. Same goes for J.P. Richardson, who showed some flashes early in camp but couldn't keep pace in a wide receiver room that's become increasingly competitive. There's potential there, especially with his return game, but when push comes to shove, he didn't separate enough to lock down a spot. Still, he's a name to keep an eye on if the Bears decide to keep a few playmakers on standby. Luke Eland, the rookie long snapper, was also cut, which all but confirms Scott Daly is the guy for the season. No surprises there. As of now, the Bears have made 22 total cuts, along with 3 players placed on season-ending IR. Terrell Smith, Sean Wade, and Deion Hankins won't be available for the year, and then there's Zachary Frazier who lands on the reserve/NFI list, ruling him out for at least the first 6 weeks. When you add everything up, the Bears are sitting at 66 active players, technically 67 if you count Jalen Johnson, who's still on NFI but should be activated anytime now. That leaves 13 more roster decisions to be made, and you better believe the coaching staff is weighing every single option before practice hits this afternoon. Now, while the front office is busy crunching numbers and scouting practice film, trade rumors are also heating up. One name that just won't go away is Cam Robinson. We touched on this last week when the Texans were reported to be testing the waters, and now it's official. They're taking calls on their veteran left tackle. No trade yet, but the fact that Robinson is being actively shopped tells you everything you need to know. Arani Ursary is their guy. They believe in him, and that opens the door for teams like the Bears to potentially pounce if the price is right. And before diving deeper into the Robinson situation, let me just say, I called this months ago. I've been high on Ursary from the jump, mocked him to Chicago more times than I can count. But instead, the Bears went another direction, trading down and picking up other pieces. And look, that's fine. We'll see how it pans out. But if Ursary turns out to be an above-average starter, you have to ask the question, did the Bears miss a chance there? Now let's talk trade value. Robinson's contract makes him more intriguing than people might think. His cap hit would only be about $3.75 million for the Bears, thanks to the signing bonus already being paid by the Texans. That's a bargain for a starting left tackle in today's NFL. He's not elite, but he's solid in pass protection, and that's where the Bears could use an upgrade. Braxton Jones is a decent run blocker, but there are real concerns about his ability to anchor in pass pro, especially against high-end edge rushers. Would Cam Robinson be a major step up? That depends on your view. He's not perfect, but he's experienced, he's above average in the passing game, and he could give Justin Fields or whoever ends up under center more security on the blind side. The cost in draft capital likely wouldn't be steep either. If you look back at his previous trade, Robinson and a conditional 7th were moved for a conditional 5th-round pick. That's manageable. I wouldn't give up more than a 5th, and maybe you throw in someone like Jordan McFadden to sweeten the deal and balance out some depth. But if you're asking whether it's worth it to solidify the left side of your line for a modest investment, absolutely. The real question is whether the Bears see Robinson as a clear upgrade. If it's just adding another body to the mix, then it's not worth the disruption. But if he's your new starter from day one, and the coaches are confident he can thrive in this system, then it becomes a smart play, especially with how important offensive line continuity is for a team trying to develop a quarterback. The Texans are listening, and if the Bears believe they're in position to make a playoff push, this is the kind of calculated risk that can pay off. Shifting to the defensive side, the situation gets murkier. This pass rush unit, quite frankly, has not inspired much confidence. Montez Sweat was supposed to be the spark, but through training camp and the preseason, he hasn't really shown much. The concern isn't just that the starters haven't produced, it's that the depth behind them is thin and unproven. Yannick Ngakoue hasn't made noise, Austin Booker is now dealing with an injury, and Tano Pisanian, who brought veteran experience, just got released. Daniel Hardy is a solid special teams piece and has some value on the edge, but you're not relying on him to be a consistent disruptor. Enter Zadarius Smith. Multiple reports now confirm that contending teams are showing interest in the veteran edge rusher, and it's not hard to see why. 9 sacks last year, a proven presence off the edge, and a guy who brings energy to any defensive front. The Bears might not be considered a clear-cut contender by everyone, but if they're looking to make a real leap this year, bringing in Smith could be a massive boost. The guy is still training, still waiting for the right fit, and Chicago might be that place if the front office has the guts to make it happen. Let's not sugarcoat this. The Bears don't have a reliable pass rush at the moment. If Sweat and Ngakoue can't get home, this defense is going to struggle to get off the field. That puts pressure on the secondary, forces you to blitz more than you want, and limits what you can do schematically. Dennis Allen might be aggressive by nature, but even he doesn't want to have to blitz just to get pressure. You want to do it because it's part of your plan, not because you're desperate. So why not bring in Zadarius Smith? Give him a decent short-term deal and let him anchor the other side. It's a move that tells your locker room and your fan base that you're serious. There's too much talent on this roster to let the pass rush be the thing that holds it back. And if you're still trying to evaluate what you have in Fields or Williams or whoever lines up under center, you owe it to the team to give the defense every chance to succeed. Smith fits the mold. He's hungry, he's proven, and he's available. What are we waiting for? As roster cuts continue and the minutes tick down toward the deadline, all eyes are on those last few bubble guys. Who stays, who goes, and who might come back through the revolving door of the practice squad. Surprise cuts are always a part of this process, and we're already seeing the early signs. But these final hours will define the shape of the Bears heading into Week 1. Names like Dominique Robinson and Daniel Hardy hang in the balance. DuVernay hasn't played in the last 2 preseason games. Does that mean he's safe, or is someone like Maurice Alexander making a last-minute push? The margin is razor thin, and this is where front offices earn their paycheck. It's not just about evaluating who's best today. It's about projecting who can help you win in October, November, and maybe even January. Every roster spot matters. Every cut is a calculated decision. And right now, in Chicago, that chessboard is moving fast. While the first wave of cuts set the tone, what happens next will determine the final shape of this roster, and whether the Bears are building towards something real this season or just rearranging chairs on a deck that's still under construction. Let's be honest, this team doesn't have time to waste. The rebuild isn't in year 1 anymore. The front office has made its draft picks, the coaching staff has installed its culture, and now the pressure is on to show real growth. That means tough calls, aggressive decisions, and maybe even a few moves that raise eyebrows. If you're playing it safe at this stage, you're playing to stay mediocre. That's why names like Cam Robinson and Zadarius Smith matter so much in this moment. These aren't just depth additions, they would be tone setters. Robinson gives you more stability and protection for your quarterback. Smith gives your defense a chance to create consistent chaos. And when you combine either of those guys with the young talent already on the roster, it starts to look like a team with a pulse, not a rebuild in limbo. But again, that only happens if the Bears front office decides to be bold. They've shown flashes of it before. Trading down in the draft, being aggressive in free agency, taking swings on upside. But this is the moment where you either go all in on contending or you admit you're still developing. You can't have it both ways. Now, when it comes to the surprise cuts still looming, this is where things really get interesting. There are always a few guys who seem like locks, but end up on the outside looking in. It's not always about performance either. Sometimes it's numbers at a position. Sometimes it's special teams value. Sometimes it's contract math. But the result is the same. A player who looked safe suddenly finds himself without a spot. A guy like Dominique Robinson is the perfect example. You can make the case for keeping him. He's young, toolsy, and still developing. But if you're judging by production, he hasn't done nearly enough to guarantee anything. And now that Passanyan is out, you have to ask, are they clearing space to bring him back? Or are they signaling that guys like Robinson are safe for now? The answer might lie in the practice reps and injury reports. If Booker ends up on short-term IR, that opens a lane. If the Bears go out and sign another edge, that complicates things. It's a domino effect that we see every year, but that doesn't make it any less stressful for the guys in the locker room. And let's not forget, this front office has shown a willingness to move fast and adjust plans on the fly. We've seen it before. A trade here, a last-minute waiver claim there. Nothing is locked in until it's announced. So for every bubble player still hanging on, the clock is ticking, and their fate could shift at any moment. And then there's the wide receiver room, which has become a total logjam. J.P. Richardson flashed early in camp, but like we said earlier, he got lost in the shuffle. DuVernay's status is murky. The fact that he didn't play in the final 2 preseason games could mean he's safe, or it could mean they're quietly phasing him out. Maurice Alexander made a case for himself, especially on special teams, and sometimes that's the difference. Coaches love versatility. If you can contribute in multiple phases of the game, you become hard to cut. And right now, with injuries popping up and depth becoming a premium, players who can fill multiple roles are worth their weight in gold. At running back, there's real tension too. Roscoe Johnson is banged up. Travis Homer has also been dealing with some stuff. If either of them isn't fully healthy, then short-term IR becomes an option. That's not a bad thing. It lets you stash talent without losing it. But it also opens the door for someone else to step in. Khalil Herbert is still the lead back, but how the rotation fills out behind him could be fluid all the way up to kickoff in Week 1. And keep in mind, teams love to poach running backs from waivers. If a guy like Johnson were to get cut outright, and we're not saying he will, it wouldn't take long for another team to grab him. So every move here has to be calculated. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The arrival of Marcus Williams of the Chicago Bears has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, igniting an unprecedented wave of excitement and speculation that seems to have no end. Fans are already buzzing with anticipation, imagining the transformative impact that a player of his caliber could have on the team's defensive schemes. Rumors about how Williams will fit into the Bears system are spreading rapidly across social media, forums, and even casual sports chatter, creating a sense of feverish expectation reminiscent of historic signings in NFL history. Analysts are dissecting every possible scenario, debating whether his presence will catalyze a championship run or simply elevate the team's performance to a level that commands respect across the league. Behind the scenes, whispers suggest that the Bears management pulled out all the stops to secure his signature, negotiating fiercely to ensure that he became the centerpiece of a rebuilding strategy that has captured the imagination of fans everywhere. The sheer energy surrounding this announcement is palpable as stadiums, fan clubs, and online communities erupt with speculation, theories, and projections about Williams' potential impact on the team's identity. Some even argue that his arrival signals a turning point, a moment that could redefine the franchise's trajectory and ignite a new era of competitiveness that might echo through seasons to come. As the news spreads, it is impossible not to sense the growing anticipation and uncontainable excitement enveloping the Bears faithful, whose hope seems renewed in ways that few could have predicted prior to this signing. And the collective imagination of the fan base is already running wild with the possibilities that Marcus Williams could bring. Speculation surrounding Marcus Williams' fit within the Bears' defensive lineup has grown into a frenzy as commentators, insiders, and fans alike scramble to analyze how his skill set will mesh with existing personnel. From his speed and agility to his instinctive reading of the game, Williams brings a combination of traits that have been rare in modern defensive backs, making the question of his deployment an absorbing puzzle for coaches and analysts alike. Some murmurs suggest that the Bears may reconfigure their secondary entirely to accommodate his unique abilities, while others hypothesize that he will serve as a cornerstone, a player around whom defensive schemes will be meticulously crafted to maximize disruption against opposing offenses. In local circles, fans are already speculating which veteran players will benefit most from his arrival, imagining the synergy between Williams and other defensive stalwarts who can thrive when paired with a teammate of such exceptional ability. Meanwhile, sports networks are not holding back, running extended segments that dissect his potential influence, highlighting past performances, and projecting statistical outcomes with a mixture of excitement and cautious optimism. Insider whispers even hint that contract clauses, locker room dynamics, and team culture adjustments may play a critical role in how seamlessly he integrates, with coaches reportedly eager to harness his leadership qualities both on and off the field. The conversation is everywhere, from casual coffee shop debates to heated online forums, with each new rumor fueling further excitement, reinforcing the notion that Marcus Williams is not just a player acquisition, but a catalyst for the Bears' next defining chapter in NFL history. Amid the whirlwind of speculation, social media has become the epicenter of the excitement surrounding Marcus Williams' signing with the Bears, with hashtags, memes, and trending topics dominating fan conversations across multiple platforms. The intensity of the buzz is striking, as supporters debate, theorize, and even predict game-changing plays that Williams could deliver, often imagining scenarios that border on fantastical yet reflect genuine hope and optimism. Analysts have pointed out that his presence could dramatically alter how opponents plan against the Bears, forcing rival coaches to reconsider strategies, pass schemes, and even personnel deployment. Rumors hint that the Bears' coaching staff may adopt more aggressive defensive postures, leveraging Williams' ability to anticipate and intercept, thus transforming the secondary into a feared unit within the league. Fan groups have reportedly been organizing viewings, discussion panels, and speculative breakdowns of upcoming matches, creating an almost carnival-like atmosphere of anticipation. Merchandise sales and memorabilia linked to Williams are surging, fueled by whispers that his jersey could become one of the most coveted in recent memory, a tangible symbol of renewed hope. In this climate of enthusiasm, every minor update, practice appearance, interview snippet, or training highlight spreads like wildfire, intensifying speculation about the timing and nature of his on-field debut. The narrative of his arrival is no longer limited to conventional news coverage. It has become a living, evolving saga, enriched by conjecture, imagination, and the collective energy of a fan base convinced that something extraordinary is on the horizon, and that Marcus Williams' presence might herald a transformation that extends far beyond ordinary expectations for a single season. Inside the organization, whispers and speculation suggest that Marcus Williams' signing is more than a headline acquisition. It represents a strategic pivot in the Bears' long-term vision, with front office insiders hinting at broader implications that may affect drafts, trades, and team-building philosophies. Rumors have circulated that the management views Williams as a cornerstone for a new era, one in which his leadership, experience, and athletic prowess could influence the development of younger talent, shaping the next generation of Bears defenders. Observers have speculated that training regimens, coaching priorities, and even play-calling strategies might be reimagined to maximize his impact, transforming him into a central figure around whom defensive identity is crafted. Some suggest that locker room dynamics will shift subtly yet significantly as teammates respond to his presence, professional attitude, and high-profile reputation, potentially raising performance standards across the board. Commentary from insiders also hints at the possibility of innovative defensive alignments, creative schemes designed to exploit his coverage range, and experimental plays that could surprise even the most seasoned opponents. Fans and commentators alike are captivated by the potential ripple effects, imagining how his presence might elevate team morale, invigorate matchday energy, and generate momentum that could resonate throughout an entire season. Every subtle move, practice update, and insider leak now carries heightened significance, as speculation continues to swirl about just how transformative Marcus Williams might be for the Bears' aspirations, leaving supporters, analysts, and rivals alike on edge with anticipation, eager to witness the unfolding of a chapter that could redefine the team's history. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.